Welcome back to the Artifacts of Wealth. This is the XFO Intelligence series, where we really dissect the strategies, right? The ones that transform private fortunes into something much bigger, into public monuments. Today, we're going to explore what might be one of history's most calculated transmutations of wealth into legacy. We're calling it the Getty Gambit. It's the story of how Jean-Paul Getty, a name that was once just synonymous with ruthless oil deals, right, and notorious frugality, how he became an immortal name in culture. It is, perhaps the ultimate case study in the alchemy that converts material riches into cultural immortality. J. Paul Getty, he was a real paradox. In the 1960s, he was the richest man in the world. And yet, this is the same man who famously installed a payphone in his own English manor house just to stop guests from running up his phone bell. But this public image, the penny pincher, it concealed a really sophisticated mind, a mind with a deep, deep appreciation for history. He started collecting art, and I mean seriously collecting, back in the 1930s. He called it a labor of love. But for a guy like Getty, love and strategy, they were never really far apart. He focused his acquisitions with absolute precision. Greek and Roman marbles, Renaissance paintings, 18th century French furniture. Each piece, it was selected for its beauty, its history, and of course, its value. But a private collection, no matter how magnificent, it's finite. It dies with the collector. Getty understood this, and his strategic pivot from private collector to public benefactor, well, it's a masterclass in legacy architecture. The pivot, it actually started pretty modestly. Back in 1954, he converted a part of his Malibu ranch house into just a small public museum. It was a test. It was a signal. It showed that he understood that a private collection, it could serve a public purpose. But the real masterstroke, the foundational move, that had already been made, in secret. See, back in 1953, he established the J. Paul Getty Museum Trust. And this wasn't about the art, not yet. It was about the structure. He was creating the legal, the institutional vessel that would carry his name way beyond his own lifetime. And that's a critical lesson, right? True legacy, it needs institutionalization. With that foundation laid, he starts building the visible part of his legacy. In 1974, the Getty Villa opens. And it was not just a museum. It was this meticulous, breathtaking replica of an ancient Roman villa from Herculaneum. The statement he was making, it was so audacious, but also so clear. Analytically, Getty was connecting his modern American fortune directly to the classical foundations of Western civilization. The building itself became this primary artifact of his wealth. It just spoke volumes about his ambition. And the strangest part, he himself, he never even set foot in it. He never returned to the United States after 1959. It created this really strange dynamic where the institution becomes the permanent embodiment of its founder, who's just absent. But the ultimate expression of his vision, well, that came after he died, posthumously. When he died in 1976, his will, it revealed a bequest that just stunned the entire world. Nearly $700 million, which is something like, $3.3 billion in today's money, was left to the trust, and it was designated for, and I'm quoting here, the diffusion of artistic and general knowledge. This extraordinary endowment, it just instantly transformed his little institution into the world's wealthiest art organization. Think about that. He didn't just fund his legacy, he capitalized it. He capitalized it on a scale that guaranteed its perpetual growth and influence forever. It's image alchemy. This is the same man, remember, who famously negotiated ransom discounts when his own grandson was kidnapped. He knew that this kind of cultural gambit, it could do something his business success never could. It could completely rebrand his name for eternity. And so what followed was really just the maturation of that vision. The Getty Trust, it evolved. It grew beyond just a single museum into this comprehensive cultural ecosystem. You have the Getty Conservation Institute, the Research Institute, the Foundation. It stopped being just a place to display things and became a global catalyst for research, for preservation, for scholarly exchange. And then the opening of the Getty Center in '97, this huge architectural icon, that just solidified the whole transformation. And suddenly, the name Getty, it wasn't a person anymore. Realization, it was a place. The phrase, going to the Getty, it became part of our cultural vocabulary. And that, right there, is the ultimate success. I mean, just consider the strategy for a second. Unlike most donors who just give money to existing institutions, Getty created his own. His name wasn't going to be one name on a long list of patrons at the Met, right? His name would be the institution. This wasn't charity. It was calculated immortality. And so today, all of the complexities of the man himself, the frugality, the ruthlessness, all those eccentricities, they're just footnotes now. The institution, that's the headline. The oil wells, yeah, they might run dry one day, but the cultural legacy, the one he architected with such incredible precision, that generates its own perpetual energy. And that is the enduring lesson here, the lesson of the Getty transformation. It's that the most powerful artifacts of wealth, they aren't the objects you collect. They're the living, breathing institutions that you build. It's the conversion of private passion into public trust, of personal wealth into cultural infrastructure. Thank you for joining us on the XFO Intelligence Podcast. If this exploration of strategic legacy has provided you with value, we encourage you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for future episodes. Now, here is a question we'd like you to think about. As you consider your own legacy, or the legacies you advise, are you focused merely on accumulating artifacts? Or are you architecting the living, breathing institutions that will define your name for generations to come? What is the ecosystem your wealth will leave behind?